Hi guys, Miss Hughes here, and I'm coming on because I'm going to be reading you a story. And the story that I'm going to be reading today is Henry and Mudge in Puddle Trouble. The Snow Glory. When the snow melted and spring came, Henry and his big dog Mudge stayed outside all the time. And that's what season we're in right now is spring. Henry had missed riding his bike. Mudge had missed chewing on sticks. They were glad it was warmer. One day, when Henry and Mudge were in their yard, Henry saw something blue on the ground. He got closer to it. "Mudge," he called, "it's a flower." Mudge slowly walked over and sniffed the blue flower. So when it gets warmer outside, do you like to ride your bike or pick flowers? Then he sneezed all over Henry. Mudge," Henry said. Later, Henry's mother told him that the flower was called a snow glory. "Can I pick it?" Henry asked. "Oh, no," said his mother. "Let it grow." So Henry didn't pick it. So there's Mudge sneezing on Henry. And then here they are just looking at the flower. Every day he saw the snow glory in the yard, blue and looking so pretty. He knew he shouldn't pick it. He was trying not to pick it, but he thought how nice it would look in a jar. He thought how nice to bring it inside. He thought how nice it would be to own that snow glory. Every day he stood with Mudge and looked at the flower. So here he is imagining what it would look like on his table in his kitchen. Mudge would stick his nose into the grass all around the snow glory, but he never looked at it the way Henry did. "Don't you think the snow glory has been growing long enough?" Henry would ask his mother. "Let it grow, Henry," she would say. Oh, Henry wanted that snow glory, and one day he just knew he had to have it. So he took Mudge by the collar and he stood beside the snow glory. So here they are standing beside it. "I'm going to pick it," Henry whispered to Mudge. "I've let it grow a long time." Henry bent his head and he said in Mudge's ear, "Now I need it." And Mudge wagged his tail, licked Henry's face, then put his big mouth right over that snow glory. So there they are looking at it. What do you think Mudge is going to do next? And he ate it. "No, Mudge," Henry said. But too late. There was a blue flower in Mudge's belly. Why do you think Mudge decided to eat that flower? "I said need it, not eat it," shouted Henry. He was so mad because Mudge took his flower. It was Henry's flower, and Mudge took it. And Henry almost said bad dog, but he stopped. He looked at Mudge, who looked back at him with soft brown eyes and a flower in his belly. Henry knew it wasn't his snow glory. He knew it wasn't anybody's snow glory, just a thing to let grow. And if someone ate it, it was just a thing to let go. Henry stopped feeling mad. He put his arm around Mudge's big head. "Next time, Mudge," he said, "try to listen better." Mudge wagged his tail and licked his lips. One blue petal fell from his mouth into Henry's hand. Henry smiled, put it in his pocket, and they went inside. Puddle trouble. In April, it rained day after day after day after day. And right now it's May, but we've been having a lot of rain too. Henry was getting bored. Mudge was chewing up everything in the house. So Henry said, "Let's play outside anyway." He put on his raincoat and sneakers and went outside with Mudge. Henry forgot to ask his father if it was all right. Do you think Henry should have went outside without telling his dad? When Mudge stepped into the wet grass, he lifted his paws and shook them. "Too bad you don't have sneakers," Henry said, and he walked in a circle around Mudge. Squish, squish, squish. So there's Mudge in the walking in the puddles. Mudge listened and looked at Henry. Then he got closer to Henry and wagged his tail and shook the water from his big, wet, furry body all over Henry. Henry wiped the water from his face. Mudge," he said. So here's Mudge shaking the water off onto Henry. The two of them went walking, and down the road they found a big puddle, a giant puddle, a lake puddle, an ocean puddle. And Henry said, "Wow, what do you think they're going to do next?" He started running. Mudge got there first. Splash! Muddy water all over Mudge. Splash! Muddy water all over Henry. It was the biggest, deepest puddle they had ever seen, and they loved it. So it looks like they're having a lot of fun splashing in that puddle. When Henry's father called for Henry and didn't find him, he went outside. He looked down the road. Splash! He heard. He put on his raincoat and went walking. Splash! He saw. Henry's father saw Mudge with a muddy face and muddy tail and muddy in between. How do you think Henry's father's going to feel about them splashing in the puddle? Henry's father saw Henry with a muddy face and muddy sneakers and muddy in between, and he yelled, "Henry!" No more splashes, just a boy and a dog dripping. "Hi, Dad," Henry said, with a little smile. Mudge wagged his tail. "Henry, you know you should have asked me first," Henry's father said. "I know," said Henry. So Henry realized that he should have asked his dad if he could go out, and he shouldn't have went by himself. "I am surprised at you," Henry's father said. "I'm sorry," said Henry. "I don't know what to do with you," Henry's father said. Henry looked sad. Then Mudge wagged his tail, licked Henry's hand, and shook the water from his big, wet, furry body all over Henry and Henry's father. "Mudge!" Henry yelled. Henry's father stood there with a muddy face and muddy shoes and muddy in between. He looked at Mudge, he looked at Henry, and he looked at the big puddle. So now Henry's dad's all wet too. What do you think his dad's going to do next? Then he smiled. "Wow," he said, and he jumped in. So Henry's father jumped into the water. He splashed water on Mudge. He splashed water on Henry. He said, "Next time, ask me along," Henry said. "Sure, Dad." And Henry splashed him back. So his dad ended up joining in and said next time that he should ask him to come and he would splash in the puddles with them as well. Thank you for joining me. I hope everyone is well, and I really miss you. Bye.